Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to this week's edition of Artist Alchemy. This is where we get together with artists from all walks of art and talk about that magic, that transformative process where they take what they do and turn it into something very special. Our special guest this week is actress, singer, musician Kelly Cunningham. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, we're
So
so
cool.
glad. So glad to see you, even in this virtual world that we've all become so accustomed to.
Yes.
Well, let's start off with a big question. How is your life in the times of COVID? I know we're kind of coming out of it, but we're still in it. What's changed? What have you done different? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's been really hard. But again, I think because we're all kind of getting used to this and acclimating to it a little bit, it's easier to kind of see what's been also really nice about it too. So I've been working from home for over a year. That has a lot of challenges because I have children at home who've been
All right.
doing school at
School
home.
at home, right? Oh, you get the
Yeah.
double whammy.
Yeah, so there's that, and in life, it's good to separate things, separate, home life from work and those challenges, I mean, there is no separation when you're working at home. That's been
Oh,
challenging. But I think, everything's starting to kind of go back to normal. And I know that I'm going to be going back to work at Yuba College in August. So I'm
good.
kind of just enjoying the last few weeks that I have here, just being at home, everything's relaxed, wearing my sweats, seeing my kids more, but also knowing that I'm really ready to like be back at work and be back out in the world. And as far as my career and goes at Yuba College and as an artist, for
Oh,
sure.
that's great. We totally agree, and we're getting ready for a few things at the Arts Council, and we've been back in the office more. There's been somebody there throughout the year, but just very sporadically. And I've been in a lot this week, and I know I will be next week. So you're right; it does feel good. It's like, oh yeah, this is what we do. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we totally agree. I have a friend with 4 children, 4 different age groups, and he describes that whole homeschool process when they're at home and trying to do their work, each one logged in on their device. So and you've got, I know, 2 children, school age children. And it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
can't imagine, can't imagine. So
Yeah. And
go
then
ahead.
no, and for my job, I logged into Zoom 8 hours a day, literally from 9 to 5. So there's been a lot of Zoom virtual learning going on. A lot.
Thank goodness we have it, or like StreamYard, which is what we're using for this program. And
Right.
it's been good. And a lot of this, as we discussed before we started the show, will carry forward. I mean, there's value here that we hadn't really tapped before. So
Hmm.
we want to get the galleries and theaters open again for live performances and live art events. But some of this will, I think, transfer.
Yeah.
Um, did I read somewhere that are you from Wisconsin originally?
Yes, I am. Well, I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana,
Okay.
but I spent my childhood up until 11 years old in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And so, yes, I have roots back there. My grandmother, she's 100 years old, and she lives in Green Bay.
Okay.
Um,
I've
and
been to Green Bay. Yeah.
yes, it's a great town. Lots of roots there. Packer fans.
Yeah. Huge.
So I have that Midwestern
Okay.
part of me, that part in my heart always.
That's right.
But I moved to California in 1987. My mom relocated here,
Okay.
and it was a hard transition. But you couldn't ask me to leave California now. I love it so much.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
Born and raised in LA, and then 20 years on the East Coast, and I'm back now where I belong in this wonderful place.
right.
Where I get to know people like you, and there's so much great creativity here, and we just love celebrating that.
Right.
So when did you? We're going to get deeper into your whole music career, but when did you really get serious about music, specifically vocal music?
Well, I had a kind of interesting childhood, and I was very lucky. My parents actually were musicians, singers, and that's how they met. They were part of a traveling group called the Fred Waring Pennsylvanians.
Fred Waring, did you say?
Yes.
Warin. I've heard of them. I've heard the music. Oh my gosh, Fred
Yeah.
Waring. That's huge.
Yeah. So they met on tour. They traveled the United States together for a couple years
Oh my
on
gosh.
tour, and then they got married. My dad was a music professor at Madison Area Technical College, a 2-year college in Madison. And so I grew up around music. And I mean, one of my first memories was, I think I was like 3, and we went to see a Fred Waring show in Chicago, and we went backstage, and I got to meet Fred Waring. I was really little, but I remember it.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And so my dad, he directed, he performed, he directed, he played all the brass instruments.
Wow.
He sang opera, he directed musicals. He also had a group called the New College Singers. They were like a show choir group. They sang and danced. And so I spent a lot of time at that college, backstage or in the audience, just watching rehearsals, seeing things come together. So like really invaluable experiences.
Oh my gosh. So it was almost genetic in your case.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. And my mom, she enrolled me in piano lessons when I was in 2nd grade. And that was my introduction to the language of music and learning how to speak it and read it.
Wow.
And singing came later. I was always singing, but I really took to piano for a while, and that was really kind of my study. I did some competing, and I did. I'd go and play for a judge, and then they would give me scores and stuff like that. I can't.
Wow.
Like those adjudication things.
Right.
So I really did a lot of that up until about 16 when I met Joaquina, and then she got her hands around me.
Well, so that was before you were still in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So there was a program where you could do your high school thing and take classes, or work with Joaquina at the college, or.
Well, when I started high school, I auditioned for the concert choir as a freshman, and I got in. Dean Estabrook was my choral teacher.
And this was at Yuba City High School?
Yes, Yuba City High School.
Yuba City, yeah. Oh,
yes.
River Valley wasn't even there yet. Yeah.
Nope, not yet. Can you hear my son? Can you hear him?
He's singing beautifully.
Is it okay? You want me?
It's fine. I like the background. Works for me.
He hums soundtracks while he's playing, so that's. But anyway, I met Joaquina at 16. I was in high school. Oh, I was talking about concert choir. I started concert choir in high school under Mr. Estabrook, and then at 16, a friend and I, we auditioned. We got really courageous, and we auditioned for Into the Woods out at Yuba College.
Oh wow.
1992. And we both got into the show. We were the only high school kids cast in the show. But that was my introduction to Joaquina and also David Wheeler. I met them both at the same time.
He directed the part. Yeah.
Atticus, can you please hold it down? Thank you.
I'm being reminded of Glenn Gould, who would always hum while he was playing the piano when he was doing the Goldberg variations, and you could hear him humming along. So I was making a connection there. So thank you, Atticus. Kind of sweet. Wow. Well, that's a great story. So you worked with David and Joaquina on Into the Woods. That's Sondheim challenging material, right?
It's such a great show. Yeah, I love Sondheim. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
Such a challenging show. It really, I don't know, doing a show changes my life anyway. It just, I don't know, playing characters that just kind of get passed down. It's just an amazing thing. So that show totally just redirected me. And again, she had a voice class, so she wanted me in the voice class. Then I was in symphony choir. So I was really active with her through the second half of high school.
Wow. So neat. You got that early opportunity. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And I graduated a semester early, and I went right over to Yuba College.
Of course.
just in time for the 1994 chamber choir trip to England.
Oh, I've heard about that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You were part of that.
Yeah. 18 years old.
Oh, what a
Yeah.
life changer that must have been.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, now, I love hearing these stories. I still call myself kind of the new kid in town compared to you lifers. I've only been here for 12 years, and I keep piecing together the history of the Yuba-Sutter Arts Council. And almost every month I meet somebody new. I was on the board back in 87 or
Right.
93, or I helped buy the buildings. And, it's just, and hearing more of the history of the program with Joaquina at Yuba College, and those of you who are fortunate enough to study with her.
Right.
That's just amazing. So I don't know if there are still or not, but there are other choral ensembles at the college at the time. Was it just a choir? Were there madrigals? What all did you have as far as other ensembles that you could be part of?
At the time, there was the chamber singers.
Chamber singers, okay.
And we were a chamber group, so a smaller group, mostly of college-age students. And then she also had her symphony choir.
Okay.
Which then later turned into master chorale many years later.
Oh, is that how that morphed?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay.
Yeah, but originally it was symphony choir. So that particular group trip to England was a mesh of both groups.
Okay.
Although the chamber singers did perform separately, but we all had repertoire that we did together.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Did you have homestays in England, or did you stay in hotels, or how were you housed?
We stayed in hotels.
Okay.
We started in Stratford upon Avon, and then
you're killing me.
And then we went to Cambridge, and we participated in a choral festival there that we were invited to, which was amazing. And then we spent a little time in London too.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
More field trips. Let young people get to meet young people in other countries and cultures, and we'll just solve the world's problems through field trips related to art. How about that?
Well, it is one of the benefits to the arts, and particularly being a musician or a singer. I've been to Europe 4 times, and 3 of those times have all been to three of the 4 have been to perform. So it gives you an opportunity to travel, but in a different way, because you're an artist. You're an ambassador for your country. You're a tourist.
Sure.
So you kind of get to wear multiple hats, and you also sometimes get to see certain things or special opportunities you might not get to if you were just traveling on your own too.
Well,
so
no question.
I had some amazing travel experiences. I traveled with my dad to New York City in 1988 when Phantom of the Opera was brand new on Broadway, and I got to see the original cast, Michael Crawford and Sarah Brightman.
Really?
Yeah. And same thing with Les Miserables was on Broadway, and also Into the Woods so I got to see those 3 shows.
Wow.
And his group participated in a festival in Lincoln Center. So I got to be in Lincoln Center. And then
you're seeing your dad perform, you're going to Broadway shows. Oh my gosh, this is like a dream vacation.
Yeah. And then as for my senior trip, he took me back. We sang with his alumni college choir from St. Norbert College in Wisconsin. And we got to sing the Mozart Requiem in Carnegie Hall together.
No kidding. You did Carnegie Hall. Wow.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So
you're the second person in the area that I know performed at Carnegie Hall, the other being John Paris.
Oh, wonderful.
Recently retired music educator for Yuba City Unified. And he just performed a virtual concert for us last week. But a couple of years ago, he was able to perform as part of a festival at Carnegie Hall. Is it as special as it sounds?
It is.
I've been to a number of concerts there, and I know it sounds spectacular. But for you as the artist, is it like magic time?
It is. It is. It had an aura. It had a glow. There was a feeling about it, like an energy. And then, you just look at the stage, and it's just kind of heart-stopping to just think of all of the people who've been on that stage. So yeah, it was amazing.
I'm getting chills remembering. I heard Jesse Norman do Les Troyens, the Berlioz opera there. Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau great
Yeah.
German baritone, and others. I had my best friend growing up. His father was an actor, a very successful TV actor, and his mom was an opera singer. The family was from New York, and then
Oh,
moved out to L.A. In the late '60s. And so I was nurtured by them. And my first trip to, can I date myself? My first trip to New York was 1983, and I went to see Cats at Madison Square Garden. And
nice.
like it or not, people make fun of that show. If even, whether you're, it's odd T.S. Eliot material, obviously, but some of the songs are kind of fun. But it was spectacular. It was my first Broadway experience, and there's Cats in New York. It's like, anyway, a little before you went there, but.
Right.
Great memories. So I want to talk more about other shows you've been in, but help me make the connection with Cal State San Jose, because I think you went there and several of our other singers. Talk about that experience and what attracted you.
Sure. So, Joaquina Johnson, in the 90s, from the 80s to 90s, really was up until her retirement in the early 2000s, we really had a small music conservatory at Yuba College, and we still had a really thriving music program in Yuba City Unified School District. And so, she was getting a lot of students coming from that program, coming from Dean Estabrook's program, students who wanted to sing, and she trained us. And there were certain schools that a lot of us took a direction to, and a lot of us went to San Jose State University. There was also quite a few students who went to University of Pacific, UOP. So anyway, I was kind of in the San Jose State tradition. I went there as a music major. I had amazing teachers there as well. I was in the San Jose State Choraleers under Charlene Archibek.
Okay.
We did a 3-week European tour that year and performed at the World Choral Symposium in Rotterdam.
Oh.
And we recorded a CD while we were over there, which was so cool. And I studied with Professor Joe Frank, who is a professional opera singer, a singer at the Met, actually. I studied voice with him. He's a tenor.
Wow. Was he based? Was he at San Jose State at that point, or was that private lessons, or what?
No, I studied vocal performance. He was my teacher at San Jose State.
Oh, really? He was there?
Yeah. He just recently retired, I believe. But he was. It's so amazing to study with a real professional who is at the top. But he was gone a lot too. So we had teachers fill in a lot, but an amazing opportunity. And then through San Jose State, then they recruited singers to Opera San Jose. And so I had the opportunity to sing professionally in that venue for 2 seasons. So,
wonderful. Okay. So you really had some work experience, so to speak.
Yeah.
How exciting.
We all started in the opera chorus. Towards the end, I got to do some small roles.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
Can you come up back there for me?
It's all right.
No, I'm doing an interview.
Attica, say hi to our home audience.
Yeah, say hi. No, I can't leave right now.
Quick one. Is it quick?
Nope, I can't right now.
Now you have to go alone.
Just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer.
Just a little longer.
Well, I have to look. I'm going where the pool is.
Be careful.
I will.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Careful. Yeah. Fine. Good advice. Well, it
He's
sounds like
leaning.
what a great program. And Catherine Donovan went there, and Justin
Catherine Donovan Campbell. She also studied with Joe Frank.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Justin France.
France went there. Yeah.
He also studied with Joe Frank, and I believe all 3 of us did Opera San Jose, just at different times.
That's what I thought. All right. So there was some difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So exciting. Outside of your family, obviously you grew up in a musical family. What other, and Joaquina, again, a huge influence as you were coming up and even in high school. What any other outstanding influences? I mean, a performer that you followed that just said, "Oh my gosh, I want to be like her," or whatever the case may have been.
Well, definitely. I think it's changed over time.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, there's opera singers like, Renee Fleming is.
Do you love Renee? Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, and Leontine Price. I think those are my two go-tos, my two sopranos.
Yep.
But I listened to so many different kinds of music. I love Bernadette Peters.
Oh.
She was definitely, she's just right here. Anything she does. Barbara Streisand definitely influenced me. I love her voice. I love her choices that she makes as a performer. Any bands that I love, it's always about singing, so whether I'm listening to pop music or heavy metal, I'm always listening for the singer, and it's always important to, I'm listening to the singing.
Are you a zealot for diction and pronunciation? I mean, or do you let that go if it's a different kind of music?
Well, I definitely appreciate diction and understanding the words, but I think it's just more of like the quality of the voice and the production of it and the color of the voice and and the versatility kind of. Yeah. So a pop performer that I absolutely adore is Sarah Bareilles, and she
a quick little not secret story, but she's on the top of the list. Abby is starting to program for the Sutter Theater, and she's from Northern California somewhere, I think, originally. Sarah Bareilles, and I don't know if she's talked to anybody yet, but she's working to get her here. So I don't know that there's any chance in hell that'll happen, but it's a thing we're at least working on. So we could pack 300 seats at the Sutter Theater, I think, pretty easily if we had Ms. Bareilles in town.
Wow. And those are her best shows. Oh, I bet.
I don't mean to bait and switch on anybody here, but it's being discussed. So funny you mentioned Sarah Bareilles.
Okay, yeah, anyway, yeah.
We love her too. So.
Love her, yeah. Wow, that's really cool.
Who else do you want to hear in town if we can pull it off? Anything else on your wish list?
I'll have to think about it and get back to you.
Yeah, all right. Let us know.
Okay.
Let us know. It's funny you mentioned Renee Fleming, and one of my favorite pairings of all time from the boys' side of the opera repertoire is Bryn Terfel. Are you a Bryn Terfel fan?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to mention him too.
Yeah.
Love
Absolute
him.
Top of my list, and I just love his story, Sheep Farmer or whatever the heck he is in Wales. Regular guy, and I had friends. I was never there at the right time when he performed at the LA Music Center, but between shows or before shows, I had friends that would hang out at the cafeterias, and he'd come in and they'd chat him up, and he was just a regular guy. But of course he'd get into the occasional barroom brawl, and he was a scrapper. But I love the album with Bryn and Renee, and there's a live DVD recording of a concert that they did. And it was out in Glenborn or where it was. But anyway, love Renee.
Love it. Yeah.
So you recently graced us with your performance in our virtual musical production of Songs for a New World. Talk about that. Did you know the material? It was new to me, and Alex Cicina, the director and one of the performers, proposed this idea last year, and we said, okay, let's do it. We have a little bit of money from a grant. Let's make it work. So tell us about that experience.
Well, what a great experience. I did not know the show. I did not know the composer at all.
I don't feel so bad. You're right in the thick of all this stuff, and I didn't know it. All right.
Well, I'm kind of out of touch with a lot of the modern Broadway.
It's not even that new. No, it's like 20 years old.
Yeah, but he's continued to write stuff, I believe.
That's true. Jason Robert Brown. Yeah.
Brown. Yeah. And so actually I was familiar with a couple titles of some things that he's done.
Okay. I didn't know him at all. Yeah.
But I didn't know his name, and I didn't know the show. And this was a project in blind faith, I think. I'm always absolutely humbled and honored to be asked to do something. And so it was so cool just to be asked to do it. And then when I found out who my castmates were, I was even more excited. And it's awesome working through the Arts Council. It's an absolute pleasure. So I just knew that the setup was wonderful, but really not having done anything virtually, there's been a couple things, like we've done a couple things. We did an applause. I did a show back in the fall with my friends. So we've dabbled with it a little bit, but a green screen, going to a recording studio, like how do we record stuff? How does it all come together? Yeah, it was just a big question mark up until the moment we actually saw the show live streamed.
That's right. You weren't able to see it all finally put together. It's like good illusion of the first time. Oh wait, it was the first time, right?
It was, and of course we heard snippets. We went over. Gay Galvin, our music director, we went over and did some listening sessions with her, and about balance and getting things sounding the best they can, because the recording experience was intense. This is a show that you sing, you perform it live, and it's over in less than 3 hours, and then you're done singing. We recorded for 8 hours. So this was 8 hours of singing, and
you're in the studio the whole time down in East Sacramento, and Agrafino, our wonderful professional videographer, did a great job, but it's intense. 8 hours. Wow.
8 hours. And some things we got to do multiple takes on, but a lot of the things we just got one take. So one shot at it, so it was so unique. It was a unique experience.
And the material, is it, as a singer, is it challenging material? It's a loaded question. I've heard it's, right?
Well, it's all singing. So it's really, I think you could really technically call it an opera in that regard. There's no dialogue at all.
Hey, there you are
with the green screen. Yeah, and very challenging. There's a lot of ensemble in it, a lot of difficult harmonies to learn. And then there's also some really challenging solos. And another thing that's really challenging about it is the length of the songs. Typically a song is like 3 to 5 minutes, but a lot of these songs ran 6-8 minutes long.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. You're right. They are. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very, very long.
For those watching who may not know all the performers from your left to right, left is music director Gay Galvin, then Janet Fry, one of the performers, then Matt Demerit, then of course Kelly, and on the far right, beaming in from Boston, Alex Cecina, who performed in the show and also directed. So what a time, what a challenge. Well, we're just so tickled with the outcome. We're trying to figure out how to be able to show it again and make it available to a wider audience. So,
right.
But it was just phenomenal. I have the whole idea of rehearsing something like this and not being able to all be together, a whole week of final technical dress rehearsal. It's just not part of the deal, is it? Right.
Well, and that was a challenge. And definitely I can say that, Alex working behind the scenes where he was, we missed him, and whenever he would send us a track, he would record his voice and then we could practice our ensemble pieces with it. And we were so thankful for that. But we really missed him. We did get to rehearse a lot with Gay Galvin, and thank goodness we did that. Because to put it all together was really challenging, especially, since we had somebody from afar. But it was just all part of the uniqueness of the experience and just making it work in this time.
You did it, and it did work. It does.
It did. Yeah.
No, pretty exciting. Well, thanks for being part of that process. And we're, oh gosh, are you kidding? And we're hoping, we're thinking that, gee, maybe we can bring it back as a live performance once we're at that point in time. And we'll see how it goes the next month or two. And if we can officially reopen and really start, all kidding aside, programming and putting some acts together, we'd love to produce a live version.
As we rehearsed, I know Janet and Matt and I talked about that again and again, how much we would love to do that. So and have Alex here with us. That would be amazing.
Yes. We'll fly him in. Special guest appearance, right?
Okay.
So it's been fun talking because you mentioned that you really started as an instrumental musician. So you play piano. Do you play other instruments?
I played the flute for a very short time.
Okay.
I don't remember it.
Okay, but all right. So, but piano's
my instrument, and well, voice is my instrument. Yeah, and piano is my musician's. It's like my tool, but it's like the whole toolbox. Like when I'm making music, when I'm reading music, when I'm singing, I'm always visualizing the keyboard in my head.
Oh, interesting.
And it's really fun to be able to play, and be able to accompany myself, at least at home, or, just help myself learn things. And I can accompany other people. So I've worked at St. Isidore's for, well, technically it's been 11 years. Are
you still working with the choir?
Well, I'm still an employee of the church.
Okay.
We just haven't been able to make any music since the pandemic started.
The choir can't meet. Duh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's been over a year since I've seen those special people in my life. Yeah. I miss it a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
How are they doing services? Are they outdoors like they are at St. Joseph's in Marysville?
I've heard that they're having outdoor mass, and I think they're having mass inside too in limited numbers.
But spread out so it can be.
Yeah,
interesting. I went to a Yuba County supervisors meeting last week, and I walked in. It's usually an ocean of chairs, and there were like 30 chairs in the whole room. So it's like, okay, we're still socially distancing, So same with places of worship. All right. So, you'll be back at some point, we hope. Are you choral director for St. Isidore? What's your title?
I'm their accompanist.
Oh, okay. So
that's my title. Yeah. Yep. I hide behind the piano.
It's
one of the only times I'm hiding.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about this before we went on, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what have you heard? And I've got to get a hold of Thor and Kathy, but what's any plans at Master Chorale for getting anything scheduled, or is everybody there still just kind of waiting and watching?
I think it's a waiting and watching. And, they have a board, and I'm not really sure if or when the board is going to be meeting. I think they have been meeting somewhat throughout all this, but I think a lot of those kinds of groups are going to have to take inventory, figure out who's still there. So I'm not really sure how Master Chorale is going to be moving forward. I know that the director, Kathy Campbell, she has so many amazing talents, and I know that she and her husband Thor would like to be doing more performing in the community as well. So I'm not really sure. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll reach out because I'm curious. I just, hey, we don't have opera anymore, but for God's sakes, let's at least keep our Master Chorale going,
Yeah.
But there are other ways to do things. And like what you also did so generously last January, was it? January 2020 when we did Italian Opera Night at Justin's. Was that fun or what?
That was a blast. Yeah. Yeah. Glad we had that opportunity right before everything
2 months later. It's like, boom,
Yeah. But we talked about doing that again. So hopefully that's still still in the lineup here.
He's pretty open, but we're just going to wait a little bit before we try to pack the place. And we just absolutely love that. So it was so cool.
Yeah, that night sold out, didn't it?
It was incredible.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful oh my gosh, so fun.
Yeah.
I think even got Justin out for a song or two. So
we did with his apron.
God. So we talked about a little bit about high school and Yuba College and San Jose State. I'm going through my checklist to make sure we check the boxes. Talk about the roles you've performed with the acting company and a lot of those great folks, just kind of straight acting without any singing necessarily.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting. I doing this interview, to start kind of feels like like when you're a kid and you get invited to the grown-up table. I think growing up in this community and being a student of Joaquina, I was very much under her influence, and I followed her direction, and I performed in all the things she wanted me to perform in. And so when she passed away in 2012, it was kind of a regrouping myself and figuring out how I was going to move forward on my own as an independent adult performing. And I didn't really have a chance to really do anything outside of the musical world. I mean, I love to be on stage in general. And so when David Wheeler, who I started out at the college with in the 90s, I did Into the Woods with him. And then in 1996, we did Oklahoma. I was Lori Williams in Oklahoma. And then in 1998, we did Carousel. And I was Carrie Pipridge in Carousel.
Fun.
And so the chance to work with an old mentor and teacher again came up at the acting company. So I auditioned in 2016 for Boeing. And
Great show. So much fun.
Yeah, and I got cast into that show, and it was amazing all the way up until the week before we opened, and I got really, really sick, and I ended up in the hospital. And so I forfeited the role. And Carly Hamilton, she took over the role for me, and she did an amazing job in that show.
Had she been understudying you up till, or?
No, she stepped in and learned that show in 5 days.
No way. Oh my God.
It was incredible.
Oh, no pressure or anything.
No pressure. But yeah, amazing. But that was kind of my foot in the door at the acting company. And that was a heartbreaking experience, literally, to learn that show and not be able to do it. But it started the fire under me, and I really wanted to keep doing plays. And so the following season, David Wheeler was directing The Seagull by Chekhov, and I was there, and so I got to do that too.
With our dear departed Richard Foote.
Yes.
Another great people. And wasn't Alex Yamada in that too?
He was. Shemaya Sutton.
Right.
Amber Colvin, Andre Laban, Brian Baggett, Sean Measles. If I'm forgetting anybody, don't kill me. No, it was an amazing cast, and made lifelong friends in that cast.
Anytime I think of Alex Yamada, it's funny because he I think it was the first show I saw when I moved here in 2009. I don't know if it was 9 or 10. The Yuba College Theater had been remodeled. And I never saw the old configuration, and he was in Othello. At Yuba College, and I've seen him and met him since then. I don't know if he knows me or not, but I always remember his Othello. So
yeah.
All the other things he's done. So
we performed. Well, I'll talk about it later. We performed in Vanya, Sonia, Masha, and Spike.
Oh, okay.
He was Vanya and I was Sonia.
Fun.
So, but yeah, after The Seagull, then another one of my favorite directors in town, Pat Hill, and one of the founders of the acting company.
Right.
She's actually the very first person that I met as a director when I moved here. I did a production of Through the Looking Glass. I was the White Rabbit.
Wow.
And she was the director. I was in 8th grade. We performed for the Prune Festival.
I heard all about the Prune Festival. I hear it was spectacular, right?
Yeah.
And so was this part of a kids theater program that she used to run?
Before the acting company, they were actually called Theater 86.
86, right? Okay.
Yeah, Kurt Schroeder, and Pat Hill, and somebody black. I can't remember.
That other person whose name I can't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, they started Theater 86. So they did have children's productions. Back then, but originally they bought the theater, and then that turned into the acting company. So when she was on the lineup to direct Calendar Girls, I totally was in. So I auditioned for Calendar Girls, and I got to be one of the Magnificent Six. And that was such a fun show.
It was.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then after that, I did 2 shows out at the college with James Gilbreth. I love working with James. I think he's so fabulous. I can't say enough good things about the theater program at Yuba College right now. And we got to do Our Country's Good. And then I also was in The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime.
Yes.
Amazing opportunities.
I'm so glad there's a full-time theater professor there again, because after David Wheeler, I guess, retired, then wasn't it Jeff Wander on an adjunct basis for a while?
Yeah.
And there was kind of some limbo time, and then James showed up somehow, and
he did. And he's
so fortunate to have him.
Right. The college just did a virtual presentation of the Laramie Project.
We watched it live, and they did all 4 performances live.
They did. And they did all their performances live in the fall too. I was so impressed.
The time I watched it was a mystery in the fall. Must have been a bad technical night because it was tough. But that was live too, though.
Yeah, they did that live as well.
Same idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can sit around and video record stuff and then play it whenever you want. But I think the idea of giving the students an opportunity to do literally a live, almost like a TV show or whatever, and I loved it. And it worked so well with that material, particularly Laramie Project, with all those individual interviews of the townspeople that knew Shepherd. It was very powerful.
It was very powerful.
I kind of went in with limited expectations, and I saw it, and I wrote to James right afterwards. I said, wow, you had me at hello on that one. So it was very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah. It was nice to see him and also
and Joseph.
Joe Scottman, both teachers at Yuba College performing in that as well.
I loved it. Cameos. They had actually quite a bit of business. It was really fun. Those guys can act.
Yeah.
Who knew, right? Oh my gosh. That really was fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. So, hey, you can't keep the theater people down, Keep coming back for more.
That's right. We'll find a way.
So what's coming up? I could sit here and make up all kinds of stuff, but do you have anything in the works, or either singing wise, vocally, or acting wise? What's
the one thing that I know for sure is there's going to be I believe, and I hope it's okay for me to announce it, but 2 live stage performances at the acting company at Christmas time. I believe they're having one kids show, and then there also is one main stage show directed by Betsy Johnson.
Fun.
It's a 5 women ensemble show, comedy.
I think Janet Fry was telling us about this a couple of weeks ago. Oh, that'll be so fun.
So me and Janet get to work together again.
You're doing that with her. Wonderful.
Yeah. So fun cast, all women. It'll be really fun. So that's the one thing I know of for sure.
Okay.
And hoping for our live performance of Songs for a New World. Just keeping that in the back of my brain.
How about the Shakespeare in the Park?
That is a possibility too.
How about this?
I've heard a little bit through Shemaya.
Is it okay to talk about this, or is this? If you're talking about Christmas, we can certainly talk about late summer.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's a rumor going around that Mr. Wheeler is directing a production of Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors. A couple of sets of twins, lots of fun, great sight gags. Actually doing it at Gaucher Aquatic Park in the pool.
Yes, in the pool.
Right?
Yeah.
So I hope we're getting some Esther Williams water kind of stuff, maybe a drone camera footage. I've got this all worked out, David. If you need any help directing, let me know. But hey, so I love it. I happen to love skewed Shakespeare. Some people are more traditional in their viewpoint, but hey, take that material and turn it inside out and upside down, and let's have fun. Right.
Right. Well, I've done Shakespeare, but only through opera, and so I really would love to do Shakespeare. I would love to learn the language and speak the words. So that'd
be fabulous.
You're getting the wheels turning in my brain here.
Come on now. What Shakespeare operas have you done?
Mostly it's been scenes.
But anything?
I've done some scenes from Romeo and Juliet. My favorite is the Desdemona scene from Othello, the Willow Song, and Ave Maria, which I performed with Borga Maria Lyric Opera. I haven't talked about that very much.
Please.
Yeah. So from 2005 up until Joaquina Johnson passed away in 2012.
It was 2012. You said that earlier because I came in 2009, and then I saw The Marriage of Figaro, and then maybe the scenes, and then I know she was gone very shortly thereafter. So okay.
Yeah. Well, so she had established this opera company, I believe a year, maybe it was 2 years before I was back in town. I moved back to Yuba City in 2005.
Okay.
And so they had already done some productions. They did Swore Angelica, I know for sure. Yeah, so we were a real opera company in Marysville. We performed in the Lee Burroughs Performing Arts Center at the Arts Council,
which is being painted even as we speak.
Nice. Oh, exciting.
Fresh new coats of paint and new windows and all kinds of stuff. So
yeah. Yeah, and we used that little tiny stage, and we really did some amazing things. We did Hansel and Gretel 2 different times. I performed Gretel both times that we did it. One of the times that we did it, Catherine Campbell was the witch. And we also performed the Old Maid and the Thief.
Oh,
we did that twice.
I was just looking at I've got the book of photographs that Lana March took in the office, and I saw that. I've got them if you ever want to see them. I don't know if there are more, but and is that, remind me, is that Menotti?
Yes, that's Menotti.
Menotti, yeah. Like I'm All in the Night Visitors, which is
yes.
Our photos are also in that book. Okay.
So we did that season. We did they did a All in the Night Visitors first. And then we did, it was 1 act, 2 1 acts.
Yeah. Oh my God. Love it.
Yeah.
I love Giancarlo Menotti.
And then that led up to kind of the peak of the opera company. And in 2011, we did The Marriage of Figaro. Okay. And we did kind of a stylistic version. We did the recitatives as spoken dialogue, and we did everything in English just to make it more accessible for our community.
Since we don't have the super titles at the Burroughs Theater, like they do at the Met, another big opera.
Right. But all of those operas were a community collaboration. Lana March, she was our photographer. We had different people along the way make our costumes. It was all a community effort, and it was an amazing time. It's hard to make anything happen on stage, but opera has its special challenges.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and I miss it, and it's hard. It's in order to do it, you have to drive, and so commuting and singing, it just doesn't work. So anyway. Yeah.
I know you're just making me think of all kinds of things. Well, what do we need to be working on? Do we want to do this again, or do we reinvent it and do it somehow differently, or I don't know. What would you like to do? What show that you've never done? Did we do this already, or either opera or musical? Or again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. You can get back to me. But is there some dream role? I've always wanted to play so and so in such and such.
Well, there was talk of I would love to do Into the Woods again, because I would love to either do The Baker's Wife or The Witch. Those would be dream roles for me. After doing Songs for a New World and learning a new composer, and discovering that there's a musical version of The Bridges of Madison County.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
That was very intriguing to me. I love that story, that novel, the book. I even traveled there. Saw The Bridges myself.
Yeah, it's so funny. I don't read a lot of bestsellers. For some reason, I read that one and loved it.
Yeah.
And silly me, I had access to a collection of, I think, of almost every national, because the guy was a National Geographic photographer, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I was trying to date it, and I went through it, and I'm looking in all these geographics to find his collection of bridge photographs from Madison County, and I'm going, wait a minute, this is a novel, it's all made up. So I got sucked in. So you visited. I was looking for the geographic stories, and anyway.
No, but they're real bridges, and they're there.
Oh yeah, no, the bridges are there.
Really cool.
He wasn't a real photographer, so
right.
See how gullible I am? That's a willing suspension of my disbelief.
I wish I could. I think I've kind of put opera out of my mind just as a possibility. I know there's some wonderful one-act operas out there. We're always just needing a tenor. I mean,
well, there's more. There's lots more Menotti too. My friend's mother, who sang at the Met and did opera in New York for years, she knew Menotti well, and she did the world premiere of the Telephone, and
yes,
and also the Medium. You know, Mother, Mother, are you there? Remember that one?
yes.
Oh, I love
Oh,
that.
I would love to do. Actually, now you mentioned, I would love to do the Medium.
Right.
I performed Monica's Waltz many times when I was younger. And also the Telephone is an opera, one of the first Borga Maria operas before I was there, with Brant Bordson and Catherine Donovan Campbell. They did the Telephone.
I love seeing the old pictures of Brant. You know, I'm used to seeing him at city council meetings where he's the city council or whatever, and attorney for the city council. It's just so fun, and I've seen him perform a number of times. And I'm just so sorry not to have known Joaquina. I met her the one time at that performance, and hearing that she obviously was a Menotti enthusiast, because that's you know, I grew up on a lot of that with my friends, and
I think also Swore Angelica, that that would be a dream role, to do Angelica. It was a score that Joaquina gave to me as a gift one time, and she wrote us notes for everything, every performance, thank you notes, but she also wrote in our scores, and so that was a dream of her, to see me and do that opera. So, and Puccini, I mean,
of course, anything, right? Did I see, was it just a clip you did from Sweeney Todd for, what is the name of the song, Worst Pies in the World or something, or was that just a scene, or did you do a production?
That was from the Applause series at Lee Burroughs for the Sutter Theater, for Sutter Performing Arts. Worst Meat Pies in London.
Worst Meat Pies, it just cracks me up.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why. Oh, gosh.
That would be a fun show too.
Wow.
Sweeney Todd.
No,
yeah.
All right. Well, lots of ideas. You think about it. You got a dream project. Let us know.
Okay.
The invitation is there. We got a couple options. 120 seats, 300 seats, and then we got to finish the back half of the Sutter. It's Sutter Theater Center for the Arts is the new title we're thinking about. So, you know, the Sutter Theater was the 50s movie theater everybody went to and loved, and we want to up our game a little bit. So we're thinking about Sutter Theater Center for the Arts. We'll see.
Okay, Sutter Theater.
I'm sorry, I didn't acknowledge Shantae sent us a nice note. We haven't looked at pictures yet. Oh my God. Sarah Bareilles is from Eureka, so thank you, Shantae. For that.
Okay.
Let's look, if we have time. We can run over. Let's look at some pictures. Who's that young person?
That's me. That's 1996. I was the Young Artist winner, and that's our recital at St. Isidore's. There's Joaquina.
Who's the basketball player?
That's Derek Klein Hesselink. He also followed us to San Jose State and performed in Oklahoma. Yeah, he was one of Joaquina's singers as well.
Fun.
Yeah. This is our last season at Borga Maria. Some of the ladies of the opera with Joaquina there in the art gallery.
I was going to say, the gallery looks familiar.
And there's beautiful Joaquina Johnson and her husband, Howard Johnson.
Howard, who I did meet several times. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Joaquina's 70th birthday party.
Oh, my gosh. So beautiful.
There's my two partners in crime.
Yes.
From Borga Maria. That's Catherine and Thor Campbell. So hopefully we'll be doing some stuff together.
See them catch their act. Thorcat this weekend.
Yes, Thorcat.
River's Edge.
River's Edge. I'll be there. Yeah. There's Wendy Cooper. She was Hansel in our Hansel and Gretel.
I've never met her. I've heard the name. I don't know her.
Yeah. She's not quite local. She lives in Roseville now.
Oh, she does. Okay.
Wonderful singer. Yeah.
Incredible. I love photographs like this, you know, of opera singers hanging out before and after the show, and, you know.
Right.
So cool.
Uh-oh.
You we have to talk? Who's making it so easy?
Oh, is this hopeless? Oh, they're not working.
You know any musician jokes?
I'm terrible with jokes. No.
Okay, I just wondering. I always like to ask musicians if they have any great. I can't tell the couple I know because they're inappropriate for
Oh,
a family show. But next time I see you, um, hey, there we go. Ooh,
which
who's
one?
this?
Oh, there's that's Desdemona. That's the Ave Maria. From Othello. Yes.
Beautiful.
One of my favorite scenes.
I got to get you.
One of my favorite pictures too.
Got to get you up on the source material. You've done these operas, and then you got to get the real Shakespeare just to balance it out.
Totally. Yeah. Oh, Hansel. There's Hansel and Gretel.
Perfect. Perfect.
Oh, and there's a blast from the past. There's David Wheeler, Joaquina Johnson. That's Oklahoma, 1996.
Wow.
Yuba-Sutter's green room. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's so fun. I love these.
Yeah.
Oh,
The boys fighting over me.
that's right. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it.
My piano teacher, Lavinia Livingston, an amazing teacher and mentor in my life. She's now in Santa Cruz, and she's just now retired from Cabrillo College, where she's been the piano professor there.
Isn't there a music festival there at Cabrillo Music Fest every year?
I think so. Yep. Pretty sure.
And the only reason I know that is because the one of my favorite conductors, Maren Alsop, who conducted the Baltimore Symphony for many years. She may have just retired. I've forgotten. But she'd come out and direct the Cabrillo Music Festival every summer as her summer gig. So, hey, there's
Calendar Girls. What a fun poster to make.
And that was directed by Pat Hill, right?
Pat Hill, yeah.
Beautiful.
Amazing cast. Yeah.
Oh,
this is an amazing community. It
is.
I love the arts in this community. Oh, that's Joaquina kissing me at Warwick Castle out in the gardens in England. Yay.
Had she done that trip before with other ensembles, or was that a first?
That was a first and an only.
Okay, yeah. One and only. Good.
We worked really hard to raise money for that trip that year, and yeah, that was the first and only.
Spectacular. Yep. We're so proud of our Joaquina Memorial Rose Garden in the courtyard at YubaSutterArts. I think you were there for the dedication, 2016, April 23rd.
That's right.
Birthday.
Yep. I make a stop there every time at the Arts Council.
I know. we just replaced the sign so you can read her quote, which is so profound and beautiful. And it's all fresh. The roses have almost finished their first bloom, and now we're getting them ready for round 2.
Wonderful.
How about that? We'll keep it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, I told you it would be over in a flash.
That went by quick.
I know. It's so hard to get you talking. Just kidding. If you'll further indulge me, we do like to ask our guests the questions that James Lipton asked his guests at the end of his Actors Studio interviews that he did for many, many years. So without further ado, what is your favorite word?
Well, the first one that came to mind is the word super. I love the word super. It's just a happy word to me, and I use it a lot to describe things that I love.
Beautiful. What's your least favorite word?
I think now my least favorite word, the verb, is Trump.
Oh.
I won't be using that anymore.
Yes. Yes. Well played.
Thank you.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Willingness, humility, openness, collaboration, a passion.
You're hired.
Yay!
I know. What are you auditioning for? Who cares, right? With that spirit, we need you. We need you on the front lines of art in our community.
Thank you.
What turns you off creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
I don't like, big egos. I don't like. I don't like a lot of competitiveness, like real hard competitiveness. I really like to collaborate, and so it's not about being better as much as everybody just being the best that they are together. So I'm not I don't compete with people. And I think also too, like in the arts anyway, like people wanting things like just super easily. I think the way that I trained and studied is that you you have an obligation to really study and do some hard work and find some self-discipline. So I think sometimes I'm a little put off when people just want everything to come really easy. I want them to study harder.
When it sounds so effortless when you're on stage, it's not just natural talent. You actually had to work to get there.
Yeah, I mean, talent is important, but yeah, you got to work hard. You do.
No question.
Yeah.
Question. All right, and one of our favorites here. What's your favorite curse word?
The F word. I use it all the time.
Yep, I know.
It's fun.
Sometimes too
It's a
often.
good release. It's, yeah.
I know. What just works in so many different settings, doesn't it? It's a verb, noun, adverb, adjective.
Right, everything.
Yeah. What sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of water. Any like running water, the river, rain, the waves. I just love water. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate?
I hate being startled by like a really loud motorcycle engine, like just something that just like scares me really loud.
Welcome to Plumas Lake. Sorry, neighbors. They're not listening. They don't know anything about the arts. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would love to be a photographer. Let's see, what else did I say? Oh, I would love, excuse me. I would love to teach voice at some point in my life.
Oh, that's funny because I kind of wanted to ask you. You haven't really done the lesson thing or teaching thing as far as the vocal arts? Or?
It's hard when you work 40 hours a week. I work till 5 o'clock every day.
That's right. You got a full-time gig, yeah.
And kids. So maybe, when I'm older and my kids are older.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful. Share your gifts and love of the music.
Yeah.
What profession would you never like to pursue?
There's not an athletic part of me, so anything athletic, I couldn't see me being a coach of any kind of a team.
Okay.
But also anything in the medical profession, I don't think I have the stomach for that or the wherewithal for that. So
those are special people.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And last, certainly not least, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Welcome to the party. Everyone you love is here.
Oh, Joaquina's right over there.
Yeah.
Gosh, get me emotional here, thinking like that. Oh, well, like I said, I knew it'd be over in a flash, and we've got so much more to talk about, but we can do this again. So think about those special projects, those special roles, and, fairy tales can come true. And if we can help facilitate a pet project, we're in. So thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, David. Thank you for everything that you do for the arts. It is such a privilege and pleasure to have you here.
Best job I've ever had. I've been training all my life for this. So stay safe, be well. Best to you and your family.
Thank you.
Thanks to our technical support team, producer Abby Cecina, technical director Shantae Arroyo. On June 1st, that's our next Artist Alchemy. We'll be talking to Dolores Mitchell. She's an artist and arts educator from Chico State. Until then, that's it for Artist Alchemy. And don't forget all the other great Yuba-Sutter Arts virtual events coming up on Facebook. We'll be back in person very soon. And just a quick heads up, speaking of artists and in-person activities that you can enjoy, we are having a one-night only live art gallery reception this Friday evening, May 21st from 5 to 7 p.m. Glenn Husted is bringing in 7 of his very talented advanced studio art students to the art gallery at Yuba-Sutter Arts, 624 East Street. Come in and support these young artists, see some amazing artwork. You see the kind of singers they produce. Now come see some of the visual artists that have come out of the program. And if you don't know this, Glenn's retiring this year. So come in and say hello and thank you. 5 to 7, free event. We'll have refreshments. It'll be a lot of fun to see everybody in person. So until next time, that's it for Artist Alchemy. Thanks again, Kelly.
Thank you. Bye.